Peace, everyone, and welcome to the Metaphysics of Love and Relationships podcast. I hope everything is well with everyone. I am Jazz, the medium, and I am also here with my host. I'll let y'all introduce yourselves today.
Oh, it's Mr. Dark Matter. How y'all doing?
I'm Tish.
Juice, the metaphysical in the building.
Juice man.
Yeah, that's me. How y'all feeling today?
I'm excellent. I'm here in the mountains in California. Get ready to head back to the Big O. About to catch my plane here in a little bit.
Okay.
I'm copacetic as usual.
That's what's up. So today our topic is going to be self-love. So I figured today we can talk about self-love and how we feel about self-love and what our idea of self-love is or our definition of it is. Does anyone want to start with what self-love means to them?
We'll let the queens go first. One of the queens go first, if y'all don't mind. Ladies first,
I knew Juice was gonna say that.
I gotta be a gentleman, you know me. That's in me.
I love it.
Jasmine, would you like to start?
Sure. To me, there's no definitive answer to what self-love is. It can mean many things, but for me, self-love is it's a lot of things, like maybe putting myself first, or setting healthy boundaries, or saying no. Or a big one for me that I've been learning lately is acceptance. Accepting myself for who I am, even my flaws, even the things that I can't do and the things that I can do. Accepting my body, my face, my skin, my hair, everything exactly the way it is. I think acceptance comes along with self-love as well. And, when we're growing up, especially when you're not considered part of this country's beauty standard, that can be a difficult thing to do. But it's definitely, once you start working towards that, that's definitely a requirement to me for self-love.
I like that.
I like that. I agree with you. I think for me, self-love is the foundation, right? For me, self-love is the foundation of how I love everyone else, right? Um, and so that encompasses many things, like you said, your self-image, acceptance, self-care, but just keeping in mind that it's the foundation. So understanding that it's the most important thing, and understanding that, the more you love yourself, the more you are able to love others. And also understanding how you love yourself is how you love others, right? I think, and even just to piggyback off of what you said, it's difficult when, you are someone who is told that everything you are naturally, things you can't change, your skin color, your hair texture, whatever, is just not right, right? I think that definitely makes the journey of self love a little bit harder for some than others. And I think that one thing that helps me and always sticks out on my journey is understanding it is not a destination. Self love is not a destination that you just arrive at, right? It's something that you have to work at every single day. You have to wake up every single day and intentionally do things to love and serve yourself. So that's what I'll say.
I like it. I definitely agree with both of y'all. Y'all both have some key points. Like the goddess Tish said, there's no destination, and it's definitely a work in progress. Self-love is basically loving yourself to the most inner core, and self-love there's many levels on self-love. right? And how you love yourself. And all these levels intertwine in no particular order, but they all intertwine. They all come together. So, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, how do you view yourself, right? So when you talk about self love, you got to put all them points into its proper perspective. So a lot of times, with self love, we live in a society where we're not taught self love, right? When you grow up, as we grow up and we become older, like we see images on TV, we'll see the image of a beautiful woman, and she has a certain body shape or she's a certain color, she has a certain style of hair, and a lot of times we see these images that Hollywood portrays. We see these images that the media portrays of their standard of beauty. And as humans, we kind of compare ourselves to that. So a lot of times when we're looking at these models, these female models or male models, we kind of compare ourselves subconsciously, not even knowing that we're doing it. We kind of compare ourselves to these images. So when we see these different individuals in the media or in the magazines, if we don't look up, if we don't have this certain type of beauty we feel about ourselves based off society standards, we kind of look down on ourselves. That's why we live in an era where a lot of people are doing things to try to feel like they're beautiful, like they get body changes. They put on a lot of makeup. Men out here taking different like steroids just to try to build muscles. There's nothing natural in a sense.
Hold on. There's one more you skip past. Hold on. I gotta say one more that you skip past.
Go ahead, guy.
Oh, skin bleaching.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? And Randall can contest. Randall can contest.
Oh no, you remember that? With the story. You about to miss my self-love thing up. Go ahead.
No, but you remember I had that my junior year in high school. Randall could contest. I had that skin bleach in my room. You remember?
Yeah. You remember I said I had to say I got some skin bleach cream in my room too, nigga?
Yeah, like but no one told us that no one told us to do that. But however, see, me and Randall used to hear different things growing up, like African booty scratcher. The women used to call, like, we used to get picked on a lot because of our skin color.
I only started hearing that when I moved to Ohio. Let me say that. I'm just saying.
Hey guys, before we dive into that part, because I do want to talk about some of our struggles with self-love on our journal, I would like to hear what Mr. Dark Matter, what his definition of self-love is.
Now, just finish his story though before he went into.
Well, let me just sum it up. Basically, self-love, like you said, Jazz, self-love is basically just accepting yourself at a wholesome level, your whole totality of yourself. Just accepting yourself, flaws and all. Instead of using your flaws against you, you use your flaws to empower you, and that's the beginning of self-love. So, go ahead, Mr. Dark Matter.
That was a gem juice, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely a gem.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Juice, where you look at TV and you kind of look down upon yourself. Like when I was growing up and being darker and seeing people pretty much not look at dark skinned people like they're scared of them or whatever stigma that came with it. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see here. I think self love is very important, and I felt like I was forced into self love at a young age before while other people didn't even know how to love themselves. I felt like I was forced into it. I was lucky. You know what I mean? Like early. Yeah, real talk. So I felt like, when people was calling me black and ugly, whatever, it never got to my soul or my mental because I love myself. I always kind of felt like I know I'm dark skinned, but my family made me love myself more than anything, to be honest. Like I didn't need other people to tell me this or that when all my family told me this or that. So it kind of already made me kind of have confidence, or made me not think like they tripping, like whatever. They'll see one day, and whatever, however it go. But self love is very, very important. I feel like kids need to be taught that at a young age.
Facts.
It causes you to do things, or it it causes you to basically waste your time being something you're not.
Yeah.
So it was easy. It's been easy for me to be myself for a long time. I'm only laughing and bragging about it because it's not like I'm bragging. I'm only laughing about it because I know how hard it takes people to get to this point, and I kind of got there easy. But I was forced into it though. I had to love myself, or because I couldn't let myself go to that sunken place. Like I could. I had to love myself. I knew that I was on the borderline. I had the choice. Like, damn. Like, if I decide to be sad about it and let the words get to me, I'm gonna be somewhere in a negative place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're lucky because that's not most individuals' journeys, right? And everyone doesn't have the support that you were lucky enough to have to get that encouragement, right? And me and Jasmine, we were just having this conversation the other day where, we were kind of talking about how we need to learn how to operate in compassion with people when we are having that self-love conversation. Because someone like you're like, oh, I had my family. They were like, you are beautiful. Your skin is beautiful. And so many people, they don't have that. So on top of just society telling them like, hey, what you are is ugly. What you are is wrong. Then to go home, and a lot of people, it's like that's reinforced in their home. They don't have the, oh, well, you're beautiful. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. And so it's like, well, who do they kind of, look to? How do they navigate, and they just don't have it. And so I think sometimes when we have this conversation with people in reference to self-love, we have to keep that in mind and operate in compassion and understand that it is a difficult journey, especially when like everything outside of yourself, and keep in mind, society tells you that everything outside of yourself validates you. Right? So when you get zero validation from everything outside of you, and then you don't even have any sort of support system to kind of come back and try to override that, that's a difficult journey. And then the way that people act that out, it's in many different ways. And we tend to judge people very harshly, without, operating in compassion of their journey.
Wow. Question for you, Tish, before I ask. Juice, I didn't mean to cut you off earlier. I just want to let you know that.
No, you good.
You would have the definition. My question is, what are some of the things you did on your journey that you're proud of or not so proud of to kind of embrace yourself?
You said proud of, but not so proud of?
Some things that you are proud of. And I want to hear some examples that you're not so proud of.
Oh, wow. Okay. I guess
like skin bleaching. Like skin bleaching.
Okay, so here's the thing. Not that I don't understand, I've never struggled with my complexion, right? I love my complexion. And fortunately, that's been supported, right? And it's like a double-edged sword because I kind of hate that. Like, just quick example, this one guy. This one guy.
Barely still is now, but that's another talk. Go ahead.
This guy trying to holler, and the first thing he goes is like, "Oh, brown skin." And so I'm not one of those women like that does nothing for me. Like that irks the hell out of me. And I'm like, hello, like it just instantly turned me off. And so I've never dealt with the, oh, your skin is too dark, or I've always got the, oh my God, your skin is so perfect. And then I'll come back with like, well, what makes it perfect? And they just be like, because I have a sister who is beautiful, right? and her complexion is deeply melanated. So I've never been one of those people who've been like, ooh, I'm lighter, and so I'm brown skin. Like that shit, like that.
Deeply melanated.
Right, that shit whack. So I always come back with like, well, why is my skin perfect? Make that make sense. However, I've dealt with other issues. Like when I graduated high school, just to give you a point of reference, I was 325 pounds. At my highest weight, I was 400 pounds, right? So I've lost like almost 250 pounds at this point. However, going my whole childhood, and the beginning portion of my adult life just being heavier, right? Of course, you have to understand the issues, that comes with. And so the things that I won't even say that I did, the things that I continue to do on a daily basis, because even though I've lost a lot of weight and everything like that, I still see myself as that Tish quite often. And it's difficult. And then weight loss comes with other issues, right? That we won't get into.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean it's very mental, right? And that's something I deal with on a daily basis. Just feeling like I am not the ideal, right? Perception of beauty or sexiness or being desired, right? And that's just strictly based off my weight. Then throw in the fact that I'm a Black woman, they did a study, and they actually did a study of all different types of nationalities of men. And every nationality, the Black woman was the least desired woman, right?
That don't make sense, though.
Don't make sense, but that's what it is, right? So one thing for me, I know one thing that I did, and I continue to do. Like the first thing for me, I was like, you know what? I got to be radical, right? So the first thing I did, I cut all my hair off, right? Because I'm like, when you cut all your hair off, what you got? You got your face, right? That's all you got. So that people don't understand that, but for me, that was part of my self-love journey. I literally was bald headed. Do you remember, Jasmine? Because I wanted to accept me, right? Just wake up and be who I am, right? And then learn to love that. I do daily affirmations. Another thing that I do is I be mindful of who I surround myself with, right? I do not surround myself with anyone that is not pumping me with the positive things that I need.
Great point.
It doesn't make sense, right? I don't hang around people like that. I don't hang around people who have like complexion hang-ups or who talk about people or gossip or shit like that. That's all a part of this shit. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to keep that in mind. And I also do mirror work. Like I literally will stand in front of the mirror naked and I'll look at myself. Some days I'll pick myself apart. Some days I'm basking in my glory. It just depends on how I'm feeling. Because it's a journey, right? Every day ain't a good day. Okay? Right. Some days I'm like, I hate this. I want to get this cut off. Let me call the doctor. You know what I mean? Like, I want bigger this. Why my titties sagging? I can't wait till my titties, But now, like, I like my little titties. They cool. They just gonna be what they gonna be. You know what I'm saying? I had to get to that, but it's a journey. So I do mirror work, I do affirmations, and I'm very mindful of what I intake, right? I'm very mindful of what I watch on TV. I'm very, very mindful of the music that I listen to. I'm very mindful of just what I'm focused on. And for me, that's very important. And it's a daily thing, right? And you're going to have your good and your bad days. And some days I wake up and I feel great. And other days it's like, okay, today gonna be a little hard. But another thing I try to do and what I advocate for is I try to take care of myself, right? I try to look my best. That when you look good, you feel good, period. I don't care what nobody say. So I'm very big on upkeep. You know what I mean? Like I do things to make myself feel pretty. You know what I mean? I make sure that I dress nice. I make sure that I do my hair. I don't walk around looking at, I ain't got that much hair, but I make sure I do something with it. I don't walk around looking a hot mess. I'm very big on that. I love on myself. You know what I mean? In those ways. And I think that's very important.
It is.
That's real.
Hey, look good, feel good, smell good.
Amen. Okay, that's why
That's
I have
what's
a
up.
very large perfume collection. I don't even be going nowhere, and I be sprayed down with perfume. Like just like I wear lingerie for myself. Like you have to do things. I think that's a part of self love.
Man,
Getting out of the habit of thinking
swear to
somebody else
God.
can do some shit for you. I will go to the store. I love flowers. I will go to the store and buy my own goddamn flowers. Okay,
Mhm.
I take myself on dates. Like I get dressed up for me. Like I literally will take a bath, rub my body down,
You
put
go to
on
the movies by
lingerie,
yourself?
and ain't nobody here but me. Okay,
You been to the
nobody.
movies?
That's right.
You been to the movies by yourself?
Like I've gone to the movies by myself. I enjoy my time, and that comes along with self love. You got to be comfortable with being by yourself,
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
Facts.
For sure.
Isolation is needed.
Okay.
Isolation is definitely needed.
Intentional isolation is important. So I
Facts.
do
Intentional
that a lot.
isolation.
Yes.
So, Juice,
No,
what are
that's
some things that you did that you're proud of or not so proud of?
Um. Well, for one, Randall. I mean, sorry, Mr. Dark Matter. You is blessed because your family is tight knit. I am I was there to see it. Like I love the way his family bond.
honestly, what I'm talking about is from on my mother's side of the family. But that too, definitely them too. But I'm talking about from the earlier days.
Well, even on Papa's side, man, I love that, bro. Real talk. Like just being around that, I love that. And
Yeah,
I
just watching my
definitely,
grandpa being dark skinned and
I
doing the
definitely
things
was
he
there to
doing.
witness that.
I could sit back and like, okay, I'm dark skinned, I'm ugly, whatever you're saying, but I don't. That's not in my cards for the rest of my life. But whatever.
Right, that's real. But I guess it was what caused me to basically dislike myself was basically being talked about a lot, right? And once again, when you don't know who you are, you allow the opinions of others to affect how you think, feel about yourself. And that's very important. So
Think, feel,
once
and create who you are.
say that again, I couldn't hear you.
Yep.
Think, feel, and create who you are.
That's facts too, and create who you are. I agree. And
Mm.
that's
I don't watch plenty of people be created.
especially coming from a small town.
I know I can't be created.
That's why knowledge of self is very important. Um, once you become familiar with who you truly are, you'll start to accept yourself more, right? So on my journey of
Very
self-love was I started to do research and I realized that melanin was very important. Y'all remember that Tupac bar? That Tupac bar, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice, the darker the flesh, the deeper the roots.
Oh yeah, that subconsciously helped me up for years.
Facts. That's right. Hey, real rap. And then when you like anybody who knew about Tupac was real. You knew his mom was a member of the Black Panther family, and they was really speaking that black and self-love. That was very important. So a lot of things that Tupac rapped about was the truth. So like when I went to college, I started to do research of our history, of the essence of us, and I started to realize, man, being dark, having melanin, that is beautiful. That's a gift from the higher power. So I use that as a tool to begin to love myself. And when I look in the mirror, I don't see just a dark-skinned man. I see a king. You know what I'm saying? So that's what really helped me on my journey of self-love. So people couldn't use my skin pigment, or they couldn't use that against me and make me insecure about myself, right? Because a lot of times in society, a lot of people has been taught to seek like love, happiness, success. We all been taught to look outside of ourselves for that. But in reality, everything that you seek already exists inside of you, because there's really no need to go find someone to make you happy, for the emotion of love and happiness already exists in you. And once
they don't want you to seek what's inside though.
Say that again.
They don't want you to seek what's inside. It's supposed to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, the journey of self-love is one of the hardest journeys, for real. That's one like the hardest journeys.
You really insecure people. It's money and insecurities. Go ahead, man.
He said,
Y'all don't preach.
it is.
Money
You're right.
insecurity. People insecure. You wouldn't buy that bleach cream that I made out the back to back.
Yeah, but
know,
if I, if
Them BBLs.
But that's a complex. But that's a complex conversation. Maybe definitely for a different show in reference to self improvement versus like, oh, I'm insecure, so I feel like I need something. Also, self love versus still wanting and needing validation from certain people. Like it's a layered topic, right? That we probably should do a show about that.
Pretty much already running down.
most definitely.
Like, cause we could go in depth, but Jazz gotta go. But we could. It's very layered.
I do want to just put a disclaimer out real quick that in no way, shape, or form that we're saying that if you choose to alter yourself, that does not mean that you do not love yourself. We are not saying that. We are not indicating. So we are speaking for the ones that do have issues with their body, with their body image or issues with their complexion, to the reasons why they're doing it. There are a lot of people who love themselves wholly and want to make alterations to their body, and it's their right to do so.
Absolutely. I think that's important that we say that, right? For sure.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Great point, Jazz. Great point. I agree.
Okay, we still got 2 more people. We on the time clock, Jazz.
Mr. Dark Matter.
Nah, I want you to ask yourself that question.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I'm not gonna lie. My upbringing was extremely difficult. I was picked on in school because I was a little chubby in school too, and I was I'm a darker complexion, and also in my household it was okay, but I was never really taught I was beautiful or pretty, and it wasn't necessarily so. I don't believe in, not all my family, but some of them didn't really embrace me. I realized that the young ladies with the lighter complexions, they were more embraced. So sometimes I found myself left out of pictures or stuff like that. So I had it pretty rough growing up. And it's funny y'all brought up skin bleaching, because I remember asking my mom about it one day, and I was like, "Mom, can I get something to bleach my skin?" And she slapped the shit out of me, boy. She backhanded me. She was smoking a cigarette and doing the dishes at the same time. I don't know how she maneuvered it all in once, but she cleaned the plates, took a puff, and at the same time. And she said, "Don't you ever bring that to me again." Oh no, she didn't like that. Yeah. So for me, it was just I didn't really start to embrace my beauty until I started my spiritual journey. Because even as a teenager, I remember being stopped and asked to take pictures for modeling and stuff like that, and still, even mentally, I wasn't convinced. So I didn't really start to embrace myself until I started my spiritual journey, and that's when it forced me to take a deeper look at me. Like, where is this where's this self-hate coming from? And I realized that it wasn't coming from internally. It was coming from what I saw on TV, what people told me all my life, or how I was raised to feel. Mm-hmm. Another issue with self-love I had is I didn't set boundaries. I was in abusive relationships. I allowed things to be done to me that I should not have allowed. I had issues with telling people no. I had issues with letting people take advantage of me or take advantage of my time or energy. I had issue with that. So that's still something that I struggle with to this day when it comes to self-love, setting healthy boundaries. So that was another issue with self-love that I had. Things that I do now is as far as my outer shell, what I do is I make everything ritualistic. Like Tish said, mirror work. So I take extra time when I bathe. I think every cell in my body. I think every jelly roll I got, or every under the bra that I got, my breasts are a little bit larger than I would like, but I thank them too for being up there. I think
a lot of men love that. A lot of men love that.
Girl, you could have a little like me.
I just learned to be more mindful to take, because I'm a tomboy at nature too. So if I could just get up and run out the door, I would. So just learning how to embrace the feminine side of myself, like doing things that make me feel more feminine. I make that a ritual every single day. You know, even if it's dancing in the mirror naked, but I make that a ritual every day. As far as the internal jazz and the child jazz that was abused and hurt for all of those years, that was taken advantage of, you know, I was hurt very badly by a family member, and it was swept up under the rug because I wasn't considered beautiful. So
Mm.
it was a lot of healing I had to do. So I have daily conversations with that inner child jazz. You know, I had to give myself daily affirmations. You know what I mean? And again, acceptance. I'm going to be chocolate for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? And just realizing just how beautiful we truly are. You know, it's
Right.
crazy. I love chocolate skin. So how am I to look at chocolate skin and embrace and love how beautiful it is, but not like myself? And I'm just as chocolate. My skin is
Mm.
just as rich. So
Mm.
just learning how to, or why am I upset with my body when I gave birth to 5 beautiful, healthy children?
That part.
Why am I ashamed of that? You know, I did what a lot of people could not do. I bought 5 souls to have an existence here on this planet. That's
Mm.
beautiful within itself. So that those are just some things. It's daily work every day.
Very powerful too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
All right,
Mr.
Mr. Dark
Dolphin.
Matter. What's up?
Hmm?
Second chapter. What's up?
What was the question?
Oh
Again?
God. Okay, what was the question?
Nah, I'm just over here thinking about, you know what I'm saying? What
What
my
are
homie
some things
been
that you
through and shit.
did, whether you're proud of or not proud of, to learn to love and embrace yourself?
Okay, I'm gonna just tell you a situation that pushed me to the limit where I had to decide whether I was gonna let this dark skin issue defeat me, or I'm gonna have confidence in myself. Now, one day I was at a football game and some girl, she just started talking about how dark I was and black and ugly I was, I guess, and um, that was the day.
Mm.
That was the day. You know, I played it off being the smooth tourist I am, trying to be humble and cool, like, and act like it didn't bother me. Got home and cried.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
Hurt. 5, 10 years later, that same girl hollered at me, but that's funny. That's another story.
Mm. Mm.
Wait, did you go? Did you go?
Now,
Did-
like,
I
now,
really didn't go, man, because I really was mad about that shit. Like
Mm.
really fucked with me.
Okay.
It really fucked with me. But
Back then, they didn't want me.
Damn right, damn right. You know how it goes.
yeah,
You know how it goes.
that night I really cried, and that night I had to decide whether I was gonna let it defeat me or I'm gonna beat it. So
Mm.
I decided to have confidence in myself and decided to just still dress the way I dress and be me. And things eventually worked out, and I had a lot of confidence in myself. I don't know why I just did. I do know why. It's because of family members I know I have, and they the same complexion as me. And I'm just like, I don't know, I don't know how they doing all this, and I'm supposed to be ugly, but okay. So subconsciously, I kind of already had a confidence, even though people was telling me I was ugly. That's another thing. And the worst thing I ever did was, as far as me being dark skinned and having a problem with that, was buying that bleach cream.
Mm.
Mhm.
And what's crazy is, like, one day, it's years later, me and Juice just talking, and he brought up that he had the bleaching skin cream. It's like 10, 50. We all out of house, way out of high school, and we talk about it. And then what's even crazier about that? Years later, after that, I'm seeing documentaries with people in
Mhm.
Jamaica and Africa taking skin cream, bleaching their whole body. I'm like, this is crazy to me. But teach his own. But I mean, ancestors, they was darker than me, so it's like, I don't
I like
know.
that that you touched on, just the support of your family. Because I think what's important for people to understand is don't feel like just because you're on a self love journey, you got to do it all by yourself. Community is important.
It is.
And I think, especially Black people, we get away from that.
Oh yeah, they have a lot.
Like, but we need community. Me and Jack, I feel like we're a great example. Like, I feel like we've kind of been hand in hand on that particular topic as long as we've been friends.
Hmm.
And it's it's important to have somebody that can enforce things and that you can talk to and that you can, cry to and vent to in reference to the things that you're dealing
Mhm.
with, about your struggles, right? Because, like, it ain't all roses, right? The journey of self love is ugly. Let's be clear, okay?
It's also
Getting
important to
real
be able
with
to watch
yourself,
somebody too,
like
not just
looking
talk.
at yourself, that's a tough thing, right?
What'd you say, Mr. Dark Matter?
I said it's also important to be able to watch somebody, not just talk.
Oh
To
yeah,
what?
to watch someone. Do you mean like watch their journey?
Like watching stuff my family members go through, like being around and watching, hearing, listening, talking, all of the above.
Mm,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, I
You know,
agree.
some things you gotta see. Like some things you gotta, you gotta see so you can be like, oh, I can't. I'm not gonna do this when I get this age. Like a lot of things, it's sometimes family think they saving somebody by not letting you see something, but in reality, they mixing you up by not letting you see something.
Hmm.
I think he makes a
Mhm.
valid point because do you know how many of my younger cousins they come up to me and they tell me how much they've watched my journey and they look up to me and you don't even think no one's watching you or looking up to you, or like how good it feels to watch my aunt who was a professional model for many years, watch her journey for her to look at me and say, you know what, Jazz, you were so beautiful to me, or stuff like that, or things that she's always said. So I think it is important to watch journeys or watch people who have destructed themselves with the same things that they felt were flaws. I have a cousin that's from another country and she's bleached her skin and now she's got like skin burns. She's got all types of issues on her skin. And I think she's probably had
Now,
like a
you see what I'm
form of
saying?
skin
Like,
cancer.
hey,
So just
hey,
watching.
now your whole skin bad.
Hmm. I think it's important for sure. But I remember one of my teachers told me one time. He said, Tish. He said, "You're amazing." He said, "You're great." He said, "But guess what? That don't even matter if you don't know that." So
Right.
it's definitely important. I think to have a community, watch other people's journeys and everything like that. And I think it's totally important and beneficial for that validation. Like how you were saying, like your aunt telling you how beautiful you are and things like that. That's important. But I think like as you get deeper on your journey, like you just realize like, God, like it don't even matter how many people tell me I'm beautiful if I don't really feel that.
Right. Shout out
And
to my
Mhm.
shout out to my great grandma because she used to always call me fine brown friend. Always made me be better.
yes,
I swear. Shout out to my great grandma.
yes.
And Ruth Jackson was my other grandma. They
Shout
always
out
let
to
me.
my grandma too, because my grandmother, she was from Barbados. She was Cuban, but she was dark. She was real chocolate. She was darker than me. And the sister girl, she had it. Her dresses, her hats, her purses matched. She had the shoes on. You couldn't tell her no different. And she was always a standard of grace and beauty to me. Always.
As I'm sitting here listening to that, and y'all just said that, it triggered something in me, like how important that is that we just instill that in our children and embrace that in our children. Because
Oh,
I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't got nobody that I would thank to be like, thank you for telling me that I was a cute, chubby girl, or thank, like, my family didn't do that. I wasn't the cute girl. Like I didn't get the oh Tish, you're so beautiful, oh Tish, you're so pretty. I got Tish, you are so smart.
That's what I got. Smart.
Like Tish, like go ask Tish. Tish, you're so smart. Oh my God, do you know how smart Tish is? Like I
Yeah.
never got from anybody. Not my daddy, not my mama, not my brother, not my grandparents, my cousin. Nobody. Now that I'm hearing, especially Randall speak about that, I'm like, nobody in my family was like until I started like losing weight, and you know, I got into my, you know, hair and makeup and all that shit or whatever, that bullshit. But just me being me, I was never told that by any of my family.
Wow.
That's interesting.
It's
So
important.
I know we didn't have much time today, and I do want to talk about this again because I think that this, like Tish said, this is the foundation. But what I do want to ask you guys is, what do you do different with your children? Because this is big. What do you
Hmm.
do? How do you raise your children differently to teach them to love and embrace themselves? We'll start with Mr. Dark Matter.
It's a little different. My son's not dark skinned, so I know he ain't got to worry about those type of
But
things.
he's still a black male.
The fact that he a black male is I mean, what's the question again? Like he ain't. What you
How do you
asking?
teach your children to embrace themselves? Because if you think about it, everyone, I don't care who you are, if you have an experience here, there's something about yourself that you have to work on. There's some this journey is a self-love journey, period. I don't care how beautiful
I
whatever
don't
it
think
is on the
he's at
outside.
the age for me to answer that question yet. Like he's still like learning the little small things right now. So we ain't even I ain't even phantom that yet. Like we ain't even went over those type of things yet.
Just
I can answer that unless Juice wants to go.
go ahead.
Yeah, y'all got older children. Y'all can speak on that.
Um, what I especially my daughters, so I got three daughters. The major key to me when I tell my daughters every day. When I speak to them or had an opportunity to talk to them, that they're beautiful, and never let the world dictate on how the way they feel and see themselves. And
Mm,
I let my daughters know at your most natural state, you're the most beautiful person alive. And I
mm,
also tell my children, all six of them, that there was only one person that will forever love them unconditionally, and that person is them. And
mm,
I tell my kids, which is very important, that when nobody show you love, you got to love yourself. Because there's
mm,
gonna be times where you might feel like someone's not showing you the love that you feel like you want to desire or
Yeah,
seek. However, if you already know that you are loved and you already feel that love within yourself, you're not gonna seek validation. You're not gonna go out looking at TV and see a model and feel like you gotta look like her. So now I gotta get my hair like her. Or I'll tell my sons, you see a light skinned guy that you don't have to go bleach your skin to look like this guy. Just know that you're handsome. My daughters are beautiful at their innermost core. So I let my kids know that when you begin to love yourself, you strive to become better. And when you strive to become better, everything around you will instantly improve. So when you don't love yourself, you will always be chasing after people who don't love you either, because the universe is just really giving you a clue. So the key is to love yourself without seeking external validation. So what I tell my kids is when you love yourself on a wholesome level, that's become a holy way of being. You feel me? That's the original holy way of being when you love yourself on a wholesome level. So when you love yourself, it starts with liking yourself, which starts with respecting yourself. And when you like yourself, love yourself, and respect yourself, you start thinking and feeling good and a positive life about yourself. So any insecurities that you may feel like you have, you done found security within your insecurities. And that's the big thing I'm gonna tell my kids, like embrace your insecurities, they're a part of you. And your insecurities also have strength. You just have to find the beauty in them. And as long as you continue to look at your insecurities as a crutch, they'll always be used against you. So your flaws even got beauty. You feel me? So I tell my kids, like, on a wholesome level, you are beautiful, you're handsome, you're a beacon of light, and everything that you want and strive for in life, you will gravitate towards that. That means environment, relationships, your job, your friendships, your surroundings. Once you begin to love yourself, then you'll attract all that. So I just let my kids know, um, basically, that the first person that's gonna love you unconditionally should be you. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what it is.
I like
Fact.
that. Facts, definitely. Tish.
I would say for me, I think that's like the emotional part of it. Because for me, I think I overdo with my baby, right? So it's like every day I tell her how pretty she is, how perfect she is. Um, just because my mom never told me that, right? And another thing that I do to try to enforce her self love is help her to understand how valuable she is, right? That's really important for me, and I do that by also just allowing her to be free to be who she is, and I enforce to her that exactly who she is, what she wants to do is perfect, right? I don't try to change my baby. I raise my baby very freely, because I feel like that plays into the self love, right? I don't ever try to make her think that like what she prefers, what she likes, who she is, that there's anything wrong with it. Um, if my baby she wanted to play football, I said okay, we'll try to find you a football team. She wanted to play basketball, but not on the girls' team. Okay, we'll try to find you a boy. Like whatever she wants to do. I try to enforce that because I just always want her to feel like she's perfect, right? Like I don't even try to use the word flaws in front of her. Like however you are, like exactly who you are is perfect, and that's so important for me because I don't want her to go through the things that I went through, right? I don't want her to accept the things that I accepted, because when you don't feel worthy or valuable or accepted or pretty, you accept some pretty shitty things, right? And I never want her to do that. And another aspect of that is I teach her how to love on herself. Like I tell her, like take your time, love on yourself. You're important. You know what I mean? Like you're the most important thing. And I just try to give her like every validation and reinforcement that I never received. I give to my baby times 10, and it'd be a lot.
Hey, but
You
y'all
know,
want to know something I noticed though?
What?
I give it to her
You
times
gotta
10.
feel that pain to get to that point.
Yeah, I just don't. And I also try to lead by example,
Man,
Unfortunately.
right? I
man.
I try.
Unfortunately.
What'd you say?
I said, what I noticed is that you have to feel that pain to even get to that point. Don't
That
even
part.
matter.
That
Well,
part.
this is the thing. Like
Hold on
I
to it.
understand that, but it's levels to it, right? It's levels to everything. Like I don't ever want to. I'm not trying to shield her from life, but I don't want her to have my life. You feel me? Like the pain that I
Kids don't
experience.
want their kids to have their life.
I
They
don't want
always
her
want
to
their
feel
life
that.
better.
I don't want her to feel ugly and unwanted and unloved and not valued and not accepted and everything that comes along that came along with my childhood. I don't want her to feel that. She's already gonna get it from the outside, kind of like how you was talking about your family. They just reinforce everything positive in you. That's just what I try to do with my baby, but it's like times 10. It's like an overload because I don't ever want her to know what it feels like to like look in the mirror and be like, "Oh, I'm ugly. Oh, I'm not
Yeah.
stylish. Oh, I'm not sexy."
Well, we're almost out of time. I just want to give my spiel briefly. Um, I try to be an open vessel so that they can come to me and speak to me about their problems. Because there will come a day in school where somebody's going to pick on your child or say something against your child. So I make sure that they can come speak to me about their sexuality, how they feel about themselves, or anything like that. That I'm open to listen to them and that I accept and love them for who they are, no matter what they are. It's a bit of a struggle when you have older kids or teenagers, but as a parent, I'm still a work in progress and I'm still learning. But I make sure I tell them how beautiful they are every day and how much I love them and appreciate them every day because I think that's extremely important. Even when they don't necessarily per se feel the same way back, it can be complex when you have older children, but I try to instill that in them every day. I do want to thank you all for coming on here today and everybody speaking. I think that this show was it was very healing for me to hear all of your standpoints and what you think and how you feel. Does anyone have any closing statements before we step out?
I wish everybody out there in the world, whoever sees this video, I hope they can learn to love themselves. That's all I can say.
I would also just like people to remember that it is a journey. Self love is not a destination. And in that, forgive yourself, be patient with yourself, be gentle with yourself, and give yourself compassion. Everything that you give others, give it to yourself.
Anything for you, Juice?
Juice man.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Self-love is just
We
basically there's definitely different ways. Maybe we can do a part two, y'all, in the future on self-love, because I feel like we all made some great points.
Man, you breaking up, man.
You breaking up a little bit, Juice.
Hello, can y'all hear me?
We can hear you
Yeah,
now.
but
You
kind of
get
choppy.
headphones, man.
We're going to do a part two. We got to do a part two to this show.
For sure.
I agree. For
That's
Probably
all
a
sure.
part three. Like,
man.
We're probably gonna have 20 parts to self-love because there's so many aspects
it's
to it.
layers. Okay?
Oh
Layers.
man, I was just about to say something like, yeah, to the ladies
But
out
we
there,
still
you gotta love yourself if you want a great relationship.
different ways of self-love. I feel like that's key.
Man, we can't hear you, man.
Y'all can't hear me?
Now we can
Now
hear
we
you.
can.
Hey, listen, hey, everybody, peace of love. I don't know what's up with my connection.
Now we can
Something
hear you
going
now.
on.
Go ahead, talk. Go ahead,
We
talk.
can hear you
Go ahead.
good now. We can hear you good now.
No, I could barely hear y'all though. Like y'all sound very, very low.
Go ahead and say what you were saying about self-love though. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying we did give different ways because we always supposed to give a list of ways that helps you achieve self-love, and we ain't get to that. So I feel like when we do a part two, we could definitely give the family tips and techniques on that they can use in order to assist them on that path of self-love.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, so if they ain't took no notes off of this show, but yeah.
We did give some good examples, though, I think, all of us. So, yeah, I'll be excited to talk about that next time.
Oh yeah, because I got like 15 points over here. You feel me?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got to get that going. Shoot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So, until next time, real quick, I wanted to give a shout out to WDOE Media for allowing us to grace their platform, and we're just going to go ahead and roll out with the commercial, and then I will holler at you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
Peace and love.